It is still Game On New Central TV, and we are in the segment called the Nigeria Premier Football League Update. A lot happening in the NPFL, and we can actually say good news for NPFL players, good news for the fans as well. I've still got Onyechi Nwachukwu right here in the studio, and of course, we are now being joined by China. China has joined us, and of course, we call him the greatest storyteller in Nigeria. Onyechi set up the camera that someone has challenged China that he's not the greatest, but we'll see if he'll get to defend his title. We've also got the media head of the Nigeria Premier Football League, Harry Iwala, joining us today on the show. Harry, thank you very much for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me your platform. But I think from today, what we'll call it is the Euromatch Nigerian Premier Football League.
Definitely, the Euromatch Nigeria Premier Football League. China, when are you going to defend your title?
Has them made us for this thing? If there are, then let's get the venue and we could defend it.
All right, talking about venues, let's go straight to the Euromatch Nigeria Premier Football League. Now it has unveiled a new visual identity and logo alongside a landmark 3-year title sponsorship agreement with Euromatch worth $7.5 million. The deal, valued at $2.5 million annually, marks the league's return to a major traditional title sponsor after almost a decade. Under the agreement, 60% of the sponsorship revenue will go directly to participating clubs, with the funds expected to support player wages and improve team welfare. The partnership was unveiled at a ceremony in Abuja, attended by NPFL chairman Benga Elegbele and other football stakeholders ahead of the 2026-2027 season. Harry, the first question definitely goes to you. What does this really mean? Because we know it is good news for the Nigeria Premier Football League, the Euromatch NPFL. But tell us, what exactly does this really mean for football fans and also the players and clubs across?
This is what really makes me like journalism work. You know the answers that will still ask the question. And China actually also asked me this question earlier this evening. But the most important thing is that what it means is money for NPFL. What I mean money for NPFL, money to give to the clubs as royalties, money to run the NPFL programs, including the Secretariat office and then some other austerity that supports and promotes the league. This has not been the case over the past 4 years since the board led by Benga Elegbele took over. But for the first time in those 4 years now, at least there is a huge glimmer of hope that things are turning positive.
Okay, Harry, congratulations once more. And I think for us, league followers, is like a breath of fresh air. My question is about clarity. You know, the new sponsors, Euromatch, from the latest we've gathered, is an online betting or booking, as you may call it, entertainment outfit. And we know that there are some religious issues in some parts of the country where some of the clubs are based, you know, and this sponsor we want to leverage. So how do you want to go around advertising in these venues?
Well, again, I'll start by saying Euromatch is a group of companies there. I mean, if you go to their website, you see Euromatch Group. And then this group has entertainment, they have promotion, they have investment. Online betting is just one aspect of it. And who will not be, or rather, they won't be putting up their online betting games on the NPFL games. So that is well understood. And I'll have to remind you that the NPFL recently had an AGM in the on that should be 28th of July, or rather 4th of August. And these matters were all tabled there. And before the board will go ahead to sign, they must have gotten the nudge from the board member, from the clubs. So I don't think, we're also in this country when we talk about religion and then NBL starts, Nigerian Brewery PLC. signed with the then league management. The sponsorship was consummated, and of course, it lasted for, I think, about 2 years. So today, we have had this discussion in the country about VAT that comes from alcohol, which is shared by everybody. So what we're talking about now is strictly business. We're not talking religion. We're not talking religion. We're talking about business.
Okay, Harry, I have another question. In that press release that you issued, you said 60% of the sponsorship fee will go to the clubs, while the NPFL will retain 40%. And you specifically mentioned 2 reasons that you want the 60% that will go to the club, to help them, augment whatever in terms of welfare of the players and all that. So my question is how do you want to ensure that that 60% is used for the welfare of players? Because there's a possibility that some clubs may use the money for the purpose it was not meant for.
I think you probably got that question not accurately, because number one, the 60% has been there from day one when the NPFL board came into office. That 60% has always been there. Whatever money NPFL has gotten in the recent past, that has been the agreed formula of, what I call it, sharing. And I'm not going to take you into all the sharing or however it goes. The 40% as it were doesn't really come to NPFL. Remember, NPFL has an investment partner, and it is through such revenue that they try to keep the money they spend. And then the last part of it, which is you talked about how can NPFL share. NPFL is not saying that this 60% is money that will just go to go to players' welfare. We're only saying that it is expected that at least an extra income, extra revenue, the clubs can also begin to take additional interest in the players' welfare. So if you are paying a player X amount when you are not getting any royalty from the PFL, now that you have, it's expected you could at least do double X for the player. And it's not also out of the point to hear that some clubs even have delayed payments to their players. And we believe that when this one comes out, at least they will report, they'll be doing much. And the good thing again is that some of the clubs are sitting up on the issue of extra revenue generation. We know how Rangers has been going for the past 3 years with Africa. Shooting Stars just today unveiled another company that is also their shirt sponsor, and another one that is their sleeve sponsor. These are all what we have encouraged them to do when we had a workshop in Enugu. We talked about building financial capacity and stability for the clubs. And this is some of these clubs are going to do that. Kano Pillars have their partners also. I don't know, maybe at least about call it 50% of our clubs have this extra revenue that do. But we say they can still do more. And what we're asking for them to do more is this issue of let's increase the value of our players, because that is what also will make the league attractive to maybe some other good players from neighboring African countries. So if our clubs can begin to develop all these other revenue streams, they can compete favorably with those nations that come to poach players from Nigeria. So that's why we keep harping on the financial stability of the post-finances of our clubs.
All right. China, let me ask you this now. Based on the journalist's point of view, we hear that Ikorodu United have launched a new jersey, a couple of clubs are launching new sponsors and all of that, and now the NPFL has a new logo and a new titled sponsor. What does this mean for you as a journalist covering the Nigeria Premier Football League?
For me, it just shows that some clubs are getting serious, and others need to learn from the serious clubs. It also shows that the league is getting more serious because as much as the league has tried so far, 1, with stability, 2, with starting on time, 3, with finally aligning to the European calendar, which we have tried for so long, and now getting a title sponsor, it shows that things are changing. And for the clubs, I keep saying it, that the clubs don't always have to wait for the league to provide a sponsor. Yes, the league can provide a sponsor, but what you do on your own part. When I see what the likes of the Ikorodu City are doing, Shooting Stars are doing, and one or two clubs in the north, I just say the clubs are getting more serious than other clubs, especially those of us in the south and southeast should learn from those ones in the southwest and the north.
All right, Harry, I mean, in as much as we talk about the title sponsorship, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but I don't think there was anywhere it was mentioned where we spoke about viewership. How would the fans get to watch the NPFL games?
Yeah, we haven't spoken about that today, but I know we have spoken about that for the program anchored by Obatunde Koiki. And this is where our two broadcast partners come in. We have Afro Soccer and Afro Sport, who are our direct-to-home broadcast partners. Then we also have, Afro Soccer has about 10 channels that get their games on free-to-air. They also have some that are on OTT, and they also have others that are strictly by subscription. So those are one. You can watch them through your cable TV, you can watch them free-to-air, you can watch them OTT by means of the device on your hand. Then we also have the recently signed YouTube streaming partner, Multi-Band International. So, matter of fact, theirs is the more penetrating, and theirs is more engaging because it's a very well-known YouTube, multiple channel YouTube organization by which they manage different platforms, and overall, they have about 3 billion viewers since January to July this year. So that is a very huge one that is taking the NPFL to everybody across demographics, across gender, and of course, within and outside Nigeria. So that is how we are going to make sure that even our sponsor also will be riding on this because they're expected to know that the eyes following the game. And the good thing about the Multi-Band National and Afro Sport is that they are not just doing 90 minutes. They're also telling this. They're going to have behind the scene actions. They're going to have interviews. They're going to tell stories about the history of some of these clubs. And what they are saying is that every day there will be a story about the NPFL on different online platforms. So these are kind of, somebody asked me the other time, so how are they going to market this? And I said, well, I open my phone and then I see a lot of clips dropping. Even when you want to go to Google platform, you see clips dropping. Today, funny enough, as soon as I went to Google to try to check Euromatch, every picture and video of the question, and these are the penetration we want to see.
All right. I mean, we talk about the marketing strategy, the viewership, and all of that. Now, the question somebody asked me off the camera was, are we ready to have Euromatch on board? Because we talk about, we've seen officiating in the NPFL, the poor standard of pitches that some of our clubs have. Are we really ready? How are we going to, because we need to show our best workings to the world. How are we going to curtail all of this when the league kicks off?
Okay, let me put it this way. What we saw today in Abuja is a combination of a journey that began almost a year ago. It has been a very long journey, due diligence being done. And for a European company, before they will put pen to the paper, they will make sure that every T was crossed and every I dotted. So Euromatch have done their homework. And mind you, Euromatch, again, also, as a foreign company, they already registered in Nigeria and have a license from Cross River State. So they also have their foot on ground. Okay. So it's not as if they just came into, they just flew in and then signed up this. In terms of officiating, I keep saying that story, that narrative should be played, not even played down. It's no longer there. I'm not saying that the officiating is perfect, no. But even without the aid of communication gadgets that we see in European clubs, I know that our referees are doing their best. Sometimes there could be innocent error. Sometimes it could be ignorant of the whatever, poor performance as it were. But we tend to count all these things as bias or corrupt officiating. No. There are sometimes, like I said, you could grade some of these errors that see somewhere. If there were some technology, the referee could have not committed such errors. And on the pitches, well, as that today, some clubs have elected to play in other grounds. I know that Abia Warriors are going to be playing in Aba. We're still assessing the ground in Mina and then the ground in Kaduna. So we're assessing all these things, and then definitely the guys in the office, the competitions that are doing, I'm sure maybe by today they would have done all the last minute this thing they did. Thank God their games are going to come up on Sunday. And I will also say that the infrastructural deficit in sports is not just in Nigerian football. It's a national issue. Look at our roads. Look at our telecoms. I mean, just all around in everything we see in this country, is there anywhere that we can say it is what it should be elsewhere? So while we acknowledge that, yeah, there's this deficit, we're also saying let's begin to look at the positives that come from our games. Let's begin to look at the players. This season alone, I'm sure about 10 or more of Nigerian players have gotten clubs outside. If they're not good, and then the league they're playing is not good, I'm not sure those other clubs outside the country will constitute them. So what we do from the office is to enforce the rules. If we find out that your pitch is not at least within the minimum standard expected, we ask you to choose another ground that has been approved.
All right, Harry.
When a referee also goes foul of the standard expected, we have also had instances where the referees have to step down.
All right, Harry, point noted. I'm really interested in the gadgets that you mentioned in your last response. So now that we have money in our league, when are we expecting VAR, the introduction of VAR in the Nigerian Premier Football League?
You're too experienced to know that referees are not the responsibility of the league. Referees belong to the Football Federation. Even any other place you would have gone, it's not the league that provides those equipment.
But you should have an idea.
It's not as if the league cannot, if the funds are there, cannot support. What I'm just trying to say is to place responsibilities where it belongs to.
Yeah, but you have an idea.
An idea of
when and if it will be introduced very soon.
Mind you, when you talk about introducing the video assistant referee technology, you have to train the referees. And as we speak, I'm not too aware that maybe any of such training has been taking place.
Okay. I mean, in as much as we celebrate the fact that we have a new sponsor, we will definitely look forward to the new season kicking off. And hopefully all the clubs would align with the structure, and we will definitely have a beautiful 2026-2027 Nigeria Premier Football League. No, scratch that. Euro March Nigeria Premier Football League, that is what it is called now.
Thank you.
I will say once again, congratulations to the NPFL for securing this one. Congratulations, Harry Wala. We wish you all the best going forward.